Okay. Rolling Lamed Gimel. David, you did HaTorah and Dorim? HaTorah and Dorim, did you do it? Because usually you wait for every Kippur. No? Okay. Okay. Yes. As long as they say mutter, it's mutterloch, it's yeah. Okay. So we have an argument here. Gamaliel enacted originally, before he enacted that the person has to be informed that the get is canceled, either the woman or the shliach. A person would go before a bezdin and he would actually cancel the shlichus, cancel it. So the question, what was the bezdin? Does he come before 2? Does he come before 3? Rav Nachman says bezdin is 2. Rav Sheshes says bezdin is 3. So Rav Nachman says, how do I know bezdin is 2? We left off just going from Lamed Beis on to Lamed Gimel. No aminolo. Did not Mosreni b'fnechem. This speaking about a prusbul. Right? Hillel, we're going to have later. He's the one who legislated the prusbul. This is the document which protects the loan that it should not be canceled at the end of Shemitah. And he writes in the document, Ploni, it says, so and so and hadayonim shebmokum Ploni, of a certain location. So normally, that's a bezdin. So what is a bezdin? Usually 3. But it says only Mosreni lefnechem Ploni, which are 2 dayonim. For Rav Sheshes, so what has Rav Sheshes respond? Otu, Tana, Kiruchel, Lech Shebelezel. He says, what is the Tana? What is he? Is he a peddler? That he has to identify, articulate every single case? I mean, 2 means 3. He doesn't have to say Ploni. Once it's bezdin, means he's just giving an example. You should have to understand what he's talking about. So Amar Rav Nachman Aminu. So Rav Nachman again has to start. So evidently the first proof wasn't such a conclusive proof. It's not. Hadayonim's chosbin lamato o edim. It says the dayonim. So now it says the dayonim sign at the bottom of the prusbul, the judges, or the edim. Either one could sign, dayonim or edim. My love. So seemingly we're equating, since the Tana stated it such, dayonim or edim, that the judges are similar to the witnesses. Ma edim shnayim, av dayonim nami shnayim. Witnesses, everybody agrees, is only 2. Rav Sheshes said, Mida yiri hoki diso. Well, what is one thing? Just because it says edim and dayonim, edim and not dayon. Dayonim is 3. If it's a bezdin, it's 3. Edim are 2. So if that's the case, lomel l'misna dayonim, lomel l'misna edim. So if so, it should say 2. Whatever they are, 2. Dayonim could also be edim. What happens if it says dayonim, so-and-so dayonim, and 2 people signed, they're not dayonim, but they're witnesses, or it says edim, and the ones who sign are dayonim, which are 2. It's valid. Okay. No, so therefore it's no proof. It's no proof. But we rule like Rav Nachman that originally 2 would have been sufficient. 2 would have been sufficient. Now the Gemara is going to go explain what exactly, what's the difference between 2 and 3. It's interesting. In terms of the halacha is, if you purchase a piece of property, and after 3 years, the original owner comes and says, "What are you doing with my property?" And he says, "I purchased it from you. You gifted it to me." Unless he can be proof that he lodged a complaint that the man who occupies the property is a thief within 3 years, he has no claim. Because Chazal said that a person whose property is being occupied by a third party, he has to lodge a complaint within 3 years. Because ultimately it'll reach the ears of the occupier, and as a result of that, he'll make sure to keep the deed. Because the person becomes complacent and becomes secure, he becomes a little careless, and he lets the document go lost. But if he realizes that somebody is out there contesting his right to be there, he's going to hold on to the proof that the property is his property. So if he doesn't lodge a complaint within 3 years, and he has to prove that he did, he loses the property. Because we say that shtika, silence, is the equivalent of the document, of the deed. Right? It's the more of Basra. So now, the question is, when he lodged him in front of, how many witnesses does he have to lodge the complaint? Or people? 1, 2, or 3? It's a question. We'll see in a moment. Here we have an argument between Rav Shesha and Rav Nachman, or we'll see in a moment, whether it's 2 or 3. In Bav Basra, 2 is sufficient. So why there's 2 sufficient, here you need 3. And over there, what Gemara says, what is the concept? Chaber Chaber Yislay. Your friend has a friend, and his friend has a friend. Ultimately, word is going to get back to the occupier that somebody's contesting his right to be there. Right? That's the Gemara. So over there, if the word has to get to the occupier, and 2 is enough to get the word out, so if that's the case, so why over here do you need 3? If the woman has to be alerted, or be made aware that the get that she's receiving has been canceled, just lodge it, make the statement, cancellation present 2, ultimately the word will get back to her. What do you need 3? That Tosas asked this question. Right? You have to have a code. It says 2 create that code. So get the word out there. So why do we have to have 3? We'll see in a moment.
Can you lodge a claim to the Beit Din? In that case, there's no question about 2 or 3.
He doesn't need a bezdin. We're saying over there, any 2 people, tells 2 individuals. Word gets out, finished. Now it's interesting.
2 Jewish individuals.
Jews, maybe even Goyim. Maybe even Goyim. What is the difference between a documented loan and an undocumented loan? Documented loan has witnesses on it. A documented loan, milva v'shtar, is gobe mina mishubodim. Right? You collect from lien properties. Even if the person sold off the property, you're able to go after the property, and if the borrower is not able to pay, you go after the property because the property is lien. What if it's a milva peh? It's an unlien, it's undocumented loan. You cannot. Why? So the Gemara says in Bav Basra, a documented loan, because there's a sofer and the witnesses, word gets out that the property was lien, that there's a debt. There's a debt, and if it's known there's a debt, people know the property is lien. So when the buyers do their due diligence, they'll be able to find out that the property is liened. But if it's a milva peh, but if it's an undocumented loan, then you cannot collect from the property that was sold off. From the lien, although there's a lien, you cannot collect. Why? Because we have to protect the buyer, because the buyer has no way to know that the property was liened. And that's the halacha. So Tosas asks, what do you have to have? What does that be? Document? A document have 2 witnesses. Borrow the money in presence of 2, and you borrow the money in presence of 2. Word is going to get out, right? And as a result of that, I mean, just as in terms of the machor lodging the complaint that somebody's occupying the property, word gets out. So borrow the money, or lend the money, because it's the lender. Lend the money in presence of 2 witnesses, and word's going to get out. So even if it's undocumented, you should be able to collect from what? From the property, or even if it's sold off, from a lien property. That's Tosas' question. So Tosas quotes the Gemara. When a person borrows, the borrower always tries to conceal the loan. Why? Komadi Yosef b'tzinik Yosef. Because if word gets out that a person is a debtor, automatically his properties, the value of his properties are affected, right? Because people know, it's like a fire sale. People know he's pressed for the money, so as a result of that, people are going to offer less. So therefore, a person doesn't want people to know that he's a debtor. So because he conceals it, that's the reason why it's not. But if you have a document, as much as he tries to conceal, we have a sofer, you have the scribe, and you have the witness, everything else. It's inevitable the word's going to get out, as much as you try to conceal it in terms of the borrower. Tosas asks a question in Megillah. It says that Esther said, "Kasher varti avorati." Right? She committed adultery. Mordechai gave it. She was a married woman. Told her to go willingly to Achashverosh. So Tosas asks a question. Tosas asked, "When Mordechai write a get? Should have written a get. Should have divorced her." Tosas answers, because if a get is a sofer and the witnesses, word would get. There was a chance words would get out, and the whole ness only took place because it was the best kept secret. Nobody knew her pedigree, her nationality. Nobody knew anything. But if there's a chance that word could leak, then this would undermine the whole situation.
How could he write it himself?
Tosfos asks, so why did he write a Ksav Yad? Tosfos doesn't answer the question.
Because Mordechai was the Sanhedrin, and he wouldn't have to write it.
Of course, doesn't answer.
You would need two witnesses too.
No. Ksav Yad. If it's written with his own handwriting, he doesn't have to have witnesses. It's a b'diavad, but it's a valid get. Then Tosfos asked, but doesn't answer.
Because he could have given her the get, she could have accepted the get, and then she could have destroyed it. But that would have been good.
No, if
That
the
transact-
I mean,
that-
he wrote the get himself without
He wrote the
witnesses.
get
Yeah.
himself, gives it to her, then destroys
You're
the
right.
contract. There's no.
Tosfos asked the question, doesn't answer.
Why? Well, does he need the two witnesses when he gives a get?
Depends. That's what we said. If you hold like Rabbeinu Tam is two separate halachas. We ain't over Shabbat Bos Mishnayim. It's like kedushin. You always have to have two witnesses witnessing the transfer. The two things: there's creating the document, the instrument, and there's the event. So evident Tosfos Megillah doesn't hold like Rabbeinu Tam. He holds you don't need the two witnesses at the time where the get is given over. To be continued.